I still remember the exact moment my blood ran cold. It was a gray Monday morning in the open plan office, the kind of day where the coffee tasted bitter and the fluorescent lights felt harsher than usual. We had all gathered in the conference room for what we thought was a regular team meeting. Instead, our boss, Mr. Richard Harlan, stood at the front with that signature smirk plastered across his face, the one that always made your stomach twist before he even spoke. He looked around at our tired faces, at the dark circles under our eyes, at the way some of us were still clutching our notebooks like lifelines. Then he leaned forward, palms flat on the table, and said the words that shattered something inside every single one of us. "Don't complain. This is all you get." The room went dead silent. Someone's pen dropped and rolled across the floor. I felt my heart squeeze so tight I could barely breathe. He continued, his voice dripping with false sympathy. "Look, the economy is tough right now. Sales are down, clients are cutting budgets. This is what the company can afford. If you don't like your salary, your hours, or the new workload, there's the door. But let's be honest, in this market, this is all you can handle anyway." He actually chuckled, a low, arrogant sound that echoed off the glass walls. I sat there, stunned, feeling every ounce of loyalty I had ever given this company drain out of me like blood from an open wound. For 5 years, I had poured my heart into this place. I had stayed late, covered for sick colleagues, trained new hires, and celebrated every small win as if it were my own. We all had. And now this man, the same man who drove a luxury car and took month-long vacations, was telling us our efforts were worth nothing more than scraps. That smirk, I'll never forget it. It wasn't just words. It was a slap across the face of every person in that room who was already struggling to pay rent, medical bills, or support their families. But what I didn't know that morning was that his cruel little speech would become the spark that changed everything. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever lived through. Morale didn't just drop, it died. People started calling in sick more often. The office grew quieter, colder. Whispers replaced laughter. And Richard? He seemed to enjoy it. He walked the floors with that same smug confidence, reminding us during every check-in that times are hard and we should be grateful just to have a job. I tried to stay positive at first. I told myself he was just under pressure from upper management. Maybe he didn't mean it the way it sounded. But deep down, I knew better. The way he looked at us, like we were replaceable cogs in a machine, broke something in me. One evening after another 12-hour day, I sat in my car in the parking lot and cried. Not soft, quiet tears, the ugly, shaking kind that leave you gasping. I felt so small, so betrayed. All those late nights, all the times I defended the company to my own family, believing we were building something meaningful, it had all been an illusion. The worst part? Richard wasn't done. 2 weeks later, he announced new cost-saving measures, more responsibilities piled onto fewer people, mandatory overtime with no extra pay, and the raises we had been promised for months, delayed indefinitely because, in his words, this is all the budget allows right now. That night, a few of us, me, Sarah from accounting, Mike from sales, and 3 others, stayed behind after everyone left. We didn't plan anything dramatic at first. We just sat around the break room table, exhausted and angry, sharing how his words had made us feel invisible. Sarah's voice cracked when she said, "I have a daughter with medical needs. I can't just walk away, but I can't keep living like this either." Mike stared at the floor. He thinks we're weak. He thinks we have no choice. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. The pain that had been crushing my chest slowly turned into something sharper, clearer, quiet resolve. We didn't scream or cry anymore. Instead, we started talking, really talking, about everything we had quietly endured, about the clients we had personally saved, about the systems we had built that kept the company running smoothly while Richard took all the credit. That conversation lasted until midnight. When we finally left the office, none of us felt broken anymore. We felt awake. Over the next few weeks, the quiet rebellion began. Not loud, not reckless, but deliberate. We started documenting everything, every unfair policy, every time Richard dismissed our concerns, every instance where he took credit for our ideas while blaming us for his mistakes. We created shared folders, saved emails, recorded meeting notes with dates and exact quotes. I reached out to a few trusted contacts at partner companies. Sarah quietly updated her resume and started networking. Mike began tracking every lost client and the real reasons behind it. We moved like shadows, hurt, yes, but no longer helpless. The betrayal had stripped away our illusions, and in its place grew a steely determination I had never felt before. Richard kept smirking, completely unaware that the ground beneath him was beginning to crack. It all came to a head exactly 6 weeks after that fateful meeting. The regional director scheduled an emergency visit. Richard spent days prepping, making sure everything looked perfect on the surface. He even sent us a cheerful email reminding the team to put on our best faces because impressions matter. But we had been preparing too. During the director's walkthrough, Sarah calmly presented the financial reports she had prepared, the real ones, not the polished versions Richard usually showed. They revealed how his cost-cutting measures were actually driving away our best clients and burning out the remaining staff. Mike stepped forward next. With quiet confidence, he shared documented evidence of 3 major accounts we had lost directly because of delayed responses and overworked teams, problems Richard had repeatedly brushed off. I spoke last. My voice didn't shake. I looked the director in the eyes and repeated Richard's exact words from that morning. "Don't complain, this is all you get." Then I added, softly but clearly, "We aren't complaining anymore, we're showing you the truth." The silence that followed was heavier than any I had ever experienced. Richard's smirk finally vanished. His face went pale as the director flipped through the folders we had prepared. The evidence was undeniable: months of ignored warnings, inflated numbers, and a toxic culture that was costing the company far more than it was saving. 2 days later, Richard was called into a closed-door meeting. He emerged looking like a different man, shoulders slumped, eyes hollow. No more swagger, no more arrogance. He was given 2 weeks to transition out. The company cited leadership misalignment in the official announcement, but everyone in the office knew the truth. In the end, the staff didn't need to shout or sabotage. We simply stopped protecting him. We stopped covering for his mistakes. We let the truth speak for itself, and it spoke loudly. After he cleared out his desk, the atmosphere in the office slowly began to heal. New leadership came in, someone who actually listened. Raises that had been delayed were reviewed, workloads were adjusted, and for the first time in months I saw people smile again in the break room. As for me, I stayed, not because I had to, but because I chose to. The experience taught me something powerful. Never let anyone convince you that your worth is limited by their vision of the world. When someone looks you in the eye and says, "This is all you can handle," remember that says everything about them and nothing about you. We are stronger than their smirks. We are more valuable than their budgets. And when we stand together, even quietly, we become unstoppable. If you've ever been made to feel small by someone in power, I hope this story reminds you your voice matters, your effort matters, and sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't loud or dramatic. It's simply refusing to stay silent anymore. Thank you for watching. If this story touched something in you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your worth was never up for negotiation. Until next time, stay strong.